Hi. I have a couple of ideas popped into my head the other day, so blog about them. Rockers done, they're ready to pretty much weld on. The only one thing I have to make sure I do before I put it on is obviously this radius here is designed to miss said tube, like so. We don't want this hitting the tube. So one critical dimension, obviously, that stops that happening is the total opal length of the shock, where it mounts up to here. From there to where it mounts. So I need to make sure that I've 100% happy with the shock length that I've selected and the fact that I can do it. Nitron has a very good website that gives you a PDF that allows you to alter the PDF for which particular, for like the neck size you want for the top, for the bottom, for the length of neck you want, for what size hole, etc., etc., what body length you want, what stroke you want, etc., etc. So you can kind of build a virtual shock and then limit the fully open travel of the shock with restrictors if you need to. If you can't quite get the stroke length you want, you can have like the increments of stroke length and body are in roughly about 10mm lengths. And then you can, if the stroke length is a little bit too much, then you can put restrictors inside the shock to, say, restrict a 90mm overall length back down to, say, a 75. So you can build all of that, which is good, which is great. So I've been going through that, exactly what I want for the shocks front and rear, because I really would like to order them sooner than later. So I didn't really want to put these on until I had complete confirmation of the exact shock fully opening length, and then I can, this bracket here, I can always orientate it slightly here if I need to. So I don't really want to put them on quite yet, so a little bit prior to whatever. But as I started to build the bottom wishbone over this side, I had some spare time yesterday, I was just pondering over my inlet manifold, something that I've previously talked about. Didn't quite know exactly how I wanted to go. Obviously I've got a limiting factor with the tubes above it. I can't run some massive Hillborn setup, which is kind of nice without modifying this single cross tube. I could put a double cross, put a single cross at the top and another across the bottom, so basically it leaves an open diamond window in the middle. It'll give it a little bit more rigidity, but that's not really what I'm after. More just clearance for the airbox. So kind of run some shorter round tubes. I'm sure you probably could get a stock Hillborn in there somehow. But I wanted to, well, I didn't want to blow $5,000 for a start. Too many other things to buy, so the main reason for buying these M5 throttle bodies, as I previously said, keep all the throttle shafts in line so that you can continue with this kind of a setup. Rod tube here obviously pulls the body open. Now to keep them all in line means basically the port is run the wrong way. It's designed for multi-valve setup, so the port's horizontal, but I need the port kind of vertical. So these wouldn't really be much cop. And then it occurred to me, because I haven't got enough to do, as they normally say, I could strip the body. I could strip the body completely with all of its bearings. Excuse me. And basically, make a new one of those. So take out the shaft and the butterfly and the two needle roller bearings in there and the needle roller bearing at the back there for the shaft. I could strip them all down, take them out, and then use the innards. It's a 52mm butterfly. I could use then the innards, the spring, the return, the shaft. But obviously I have to machine 6 of these identical, but then the end 2, if I can mount them with some form of a TPS sensor, probably machine those differently just to suit that, because it makes a nice cleaner setup. But basically I could machine a new throttle body. pretty much identical to most of them, say apart from that one alteration. So if I machined those new, then I could then reorientate that port that way. And in fact, I could orientate the port to the point that it's actually the exact correct size for the center of the head. As you can see, the port there, it's I think it's about 34mm wide and roughly nearest diameter 16mm tall. The top of the port's pretty flat across. The bottom of the port has about a couple of degree angle. Which way is it? Yeah, that way. So it's about 2mm longer that way on that side than it is this side. But whatever, I could bolt the individual throttle bodies to that. So the plan was, and I've drawn it in CAD, was make a 20mm thick plate that bolts to each head. So make an individual plate, like an adapter between the two, should we say. Have the original GM O-ring, for lack of a better word, seal in that thick plate. Have that bolted to the head. Any minor inaccuracy then in the two ports, I could just simply port them out so they're perfectly in line, leaving the machined finish port to correct whatever I make the throttle body. So basically I can make the throttle body, then bolt to the thick plate. I'll machine, a groove in here to put a Vitron O-ring, and then bolt that to the plate. That plate, that's two separate units, but basically then join it all up with the original shafts and the original modified but original M5 setup for there. So that was the idea. So I spent, instead of building the wishbone, which is probably what I should have done, I got back on the computer and basically redrew the CAD drawing for that. So it's come up pretty well. If you check the piston heads page, I've put a few JPEGs up there so you can see what I'm doing. I'm probably, just for the hell of it, if nothing else, I can see it's nice and simple. I can get a 4-inch round piece of 6061 bar, and then I'll machine one of these up, which shouldn't be too hard to do really. Basically, I want to make them. I've tried a few different ways of doing it. Originally, I made them perfectly straight and reasonably symmetrical. Then I tried to offset them so they're like a 7-degree angle, so that they kind of alternate nicely. I still have to play around with that a little bit, because with the alternate at 7-degree angle, then I have to machine this piece here at a 7-degree angle, which kind of makes it a bit of a pain. So I haven't got to decide exactly how I'm going to do it. So I'm just trying a few things in CAD first, seeing what works best before I actually then prototype one. But I'll definitely machine one out, bolt the blade and everything back in it, see how it works, see how I feel on if it's gonna be worth my while. Then I'll machine all 8 and start mocking up the plates on the head. So basically I'll machine my own individual throttle bodies, which would be kind of cool, to be honest. We shall see, but I'll keep all the original BMW stuff, like the bearings, the radial bearings that are in here and in there. They've all got seals, so I'll keep the original specs. I've got obviously all the bore sizes and stuff that I need to make in here. Returns or the throttle stop, that'll be in, that'll be on. Bolted off for here. Large port transfer for the mass air pressure. I'll do that and do a chamber between the two instead of just running some small bore pipes. It'll actually have something that's I think it's about a 10mm hole. We'll actually have a reasonably large passage for mass air pressure. So that'll be done, put in as well. If I can put all of those bits and pieces in, the injector boss itself I probably won't machine into the body too much, just to keep that at a nice relevant angle and make it nice and simple. You can turn a nice round boss for that, and basically I'll probably just drill the hole into it, put it in and just weld it on. It makes for a lot simpler a lot simpler machining process, and I don't have to worry about having a kind of bump in here, or I can just turn it and push in whatever needs to be. Try and get the machining down to a minimum. Okay, just last relevant thought. Speak to you soon.